All I seem to do is hurt. from the book of Proverbs, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12. You find these words written by the wise teacher Solomon. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. But when the desire comes, or when it is fulfilled, it is a tree of life. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. But when the desire comes, when hope is realized, it is a tree of life. And I want to talk about hope and infusion of life. Hope and infusion of life. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Certainly thank our praise team again for leading us today in this time of praise and worship. And thank you to our ushers for serving us and media team who's helping to get things organized for us. Let me give a special shout out to Deacon Wayne Lewis. I count on him for everything. He wears many hats around here. And I almost said Deacon Wilbur Walker. Our musician, Brother Wilbur, there's a terrible water leak outside, and they've been on top of it. And Wilbur got the city online, and they come right on, and they're going to take care. So you're going to see water, but they're not shutting no water off, because you know what I was saying. We got to use the restroom, so you can't shut it off while we have in church, but they're not going to do that. So we don't have to worry, but I want to just take this time to shout out for those brothers and sisters. And he settled me down because, I'm always at 110. I was going to run out there and meet with the water because he said, we got to take care of him. Sit down. Thank you, Pops. Hope and infusion of life. Hope infuses life. It inspires life. It ignites life. If you have hope, you can live. Amen. Been trying to look at that this month in a number of ways, and today, if you can cling to your hope, you can survive. When you think about the advantage of having hope, the wise teacher or the teacher of wisdom here in the book of Proverbs, who we ascribe it to as Solomon, surmises that hope inspires life within an individual. Notice again what he says in the verse: hope that is deferred, hope that is delayed, hope that is put off makes the heart or the mind sick, because it causes worry. And even though the Bible teaches us as believers not to worry, there are times many of us still worry. And when we look at situations that seem to be impossible, we've extended and expended our energies and our resources trying to make things better, and things seem to grow worse. He says, as if there's no hope involved in the process, it can push you over the edge. And that's why as a body of believers, as a church family, we are called to pray for one another. We're called to encourage one another. We don't have time to fight each other. We don't have time to pick and nitpick and try to put people on the spot and set people up. There are too many people need our help. That's right. As a body of believers, what else purpose would it be to come to a church, join a church? If you're not joining a support system. This is just like the AAA and the Smokers Anonymous and the Sex Anonymous and all them people. I don't know what all the groups are. Just like they meet to support each other, we meet to support each other. We want to make sure that people who are hanging by the thread still can hold on to some hope. Did you read the scripture when it said, and I'm getting off my table, I'm getting back on it. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes. What do you think that is? That's the writer infusing hope. You're crying right now, but there's some joy coming. You ain't gonna cry always. No. You're not gonna be broke always. You're not gonna be sick always. You're not going to be lonely always. I'm just trying to think of some stuff. Because hope says it's going to get better. All right. Thank you, Lord Jesus. He says when it comes, it is a tree of life. Yeah, whole new person, whole new aspiration, whole new inspiration. Yeah, people wonder what happened. That didn't happen, but God came through. Just like I knew he would. Yeah. My. Regardless of how rough of our circumstances in life becomes, always know that hope gives us a reason not to give up. For every rejection, hope says an acceptance is on the horizon. People, we used to go to the companies to apply for the job and take our applications and resumes, and some were fortunate to get the interview on the spot, and some had to wait for an interview. I can't tell you how many, after college, how many letters I've received in the mail that says, we are sorry. Darren, I would tell myself sometimes, if I get one more letter, that I'm sorry, we are sorry, I was just going to explode. But that didn't stop me, Cammy, from applying. I don't care how many I got. When I heard about a new opportunity, I applied. And I'm glad to be able to stand here today, all those years later, some 40 years later, and say, hey, because even though I got all those, we are sorry, we can't hire you, we can't use you, I never went hungry. No bill ever was unpaid. My family was never without. Y'all ain't gonna work with me. Because hope says there is an acceptance on the horizon. Somebody's gonna hire you. And I learned this might help you, might not, depending on what your temperaments are. But I learned when you ain't got nothing, take what's being offered. Do your best at it. And I'm a living witness telling me, God will open up some doors and you'll move up. And if you don't move up in that company, he'll move you out of there somewhere else where you're up. I know that I see some hand clapping, so that's about 4 witnesses I got. The rest of y'all, I don't know. Y'all tell us y'all story later. But for every rejection, hope says an acceptance is on the horizon. For every broken relationship, hope says a better one is coming. Let me stay there for a minute, because I'm not understanding people so caught up in the other people that when they don't want to have no dealings with you no more, you think they need to be dead. And then you want to shoot yourself after you kill them. Come on. Now, I'm the pastor, Rita, and I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, but let me reverse it. Shoot you first. Let her live. She ain't trying to go out like that. If you don't kill yourself anyway, go, you be first. You got the problem. I'm sorry. This ain't the kind of church y'all are accustomed to. But I'm sorry, I'm the pastor from the hood. You go first. And if I love you that much, I'll follow. Don't go over there, don't be stalking nobody. If your spouse decided I can't handle this marriage no more, and they move, or you have to move, move means you stay where you moved to, she stay where she moved to, or you stay where you moved to. 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't leave you parked at your driveway, you're trying to see what kind of cars over there. That's stalking. That's what? Yeah. That's what that's called. No. I'm just saying. If you go, the sooner you can let go and move on, the sooner the Lord can send you somebody else. Because there are enough people out there, trust me, looking, waiting on you. Yeah, looking for you. Waiting on you. So go on. Leave that alone. He said no. He said no. That's it. That's it. When they say that's it, that's it. Take it for real. And for every unfavorable diagnosis, hope says there is still a fighting chance. When you go, we're up against a whole lot in the world today. Cancer, the diabetes, heart problems, there's a number of things, now the virus on top of that. And some people are not going to pull through it. Yeah, we already know that. But you got to, if it happens to you or your loved one, you got to take Jesus' word that he spoke about Lazarus. This sickness is not unto death. You hold on to that. And I'm sick, but that's not unto death. I'm claiming I'm going to pull through this thing. Yeah, because hope says, there's a fighting chance. They might not have no vaccine now, but there's one on the horizon. You might not have a treatment plan now, but there's one on the horizon. So you go in the doctor, you have your examinations, they do the x-rays or MRIs or whatever they do, and the results come back, act scary and unnerving, and you just look at it and say, Lord, it's in your hands. Don't try not to. I can't tell you what don't do, but try not to buckle at the knees and lay on the floor screaming and wailing and hollering. Because then that's hope deferred. That's what hope deferred makes you do. But hope says there's a fighting chance. There's a treatment plan. If you don't have the money, they got the money. They got money. Hospitals got money. They can write some of this stuff up. Go on up there anyway. Go. Just go. Say, I'm sick. Treat me. They gonna work out something. Now, don't call them and tell them I ain't got no insurance, but I'm coming. They might tell you don't come here. No, just show up. Get up. Get in there. Get in there. Now, okay. Now, if you need me to come up there and help you, I'll be a call. I'll see the Reverend Prince. The people, listen first, the people we allow into our space will do one of two things. They'll either depress us or they will inspire us. And you got to be careful who you let in your space. Because people can help you or they can mess you up. I'm saying be nice to everybody and treat people with respect and all the good stuff. But you got to know there's some people who just toxic. Well, they don't see nothing good. They don't know nothing good. They're not trying to help you. Everything they have to say about you is critical. That ain't your friend. Always a put down or insult or what they call it when they talk down to you. Yeah, condescending. Thank you. It's good to have smart people around. Condescending, always condescending, and want to make you feel guilty and all that kind of craziness. So then you got to be careful who you let in that space. And catch this, especially when you have a situation going on. You don't need a bunch of negative people. Now, we don't visit hospitals and stuff like we used to, the old churches and stuff, but don't ever go visit somebody in the hospital or at their home and they're sick and you walk into, whoa, they said you were sick. You sure look it. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, people do that kind of crazy. And yeah, make it feel worse. If you're going to go inspire, if you're going to call, be inspirational, be encouraging. Yeah. So you got to be careful. You can't be telling everybody your business. If you got a project, you know, you working on something, you can't tell everybody. Everybody they could be claiming to be your best of friends. But that don't mean they want to see you do well. Some people want to keep you below them because below them make them feel important. And you ought to have been around them long enough to pick up on that arrogant spirit. And say, no. And then if people got to ask you your business, don't tell them nothing. You don't look well. Something look wrong. You look like you upset. You all right today? Good. I'm fine. You're really about to croak. I'm fine. Because they're just looking for something to latch on to. Put your business out and to mess you up. So be careful who you let in your space. Okay, so we take on the spirit and the attitude of those we allow to influence us. Listen to what Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 4 says. For to him that is joined to all the living, there is hope. If you're connected to something that's lively, that's alive, that's invigorating, he says there is hope. But catch the last part of that verse. For a living dog is better than a dead lion. What in the world? Even though a lion is more ferocious than a dog, what he's saying, if the dog is alive and the lion is dead, a dead ferocious lion is not going to do you no good. take the living God and go forward. Some of us got picks and chooses. There's just certain people we want to rub shoulders with and hang out with. But listen, if they ain't about nothing, drop them. And then there are people who will help you, but you looked at them and assessed that they ain't worth the time of day. And that could be the very person that bring about your deliverance. When I was in school, they said, don't judge a book by its cover. That was when I was in middle school. I heard that and didn't never know what it meant and didn't have sense enough to ask nobody. By the time I finally got to college, then I learned. You just can't look at a person and make a judgment call. Because there are more to people than meets the eye. There was this New York pastor, Reverend Johnny Youngblood told the story about having them, and when they needed to move the church, they had outgrown the location where they were in the heart of the neighborhood. They needed to move the church, but they didn't have many members. And you know how churches have been around for decades. They were flourishing back in the day, but in the modern day, they've diminished. There's all you pretty much got are retired people. And how many of you know a church can't do a whole lot on retired income, on fixed income? That's why you young people who still working need to learn how to tithe. I just thought I'd slide that in. But that ain't the message. Here's what I'm getting at. He said when they were getting ready to build and they didn't have the money and they needed a down payment, amen, on a project, on getting another place. He said, and they needed $10,000 that week. And he got up and he announced it to the congregation, just a handful of people, mostly retired on fixed income, said that after church, he was in his office, and this little old lady came in, tattered, and, you know, old hat on, and the dark black dress and shawl, and she didn't even have a purse. Sister Harden, she had a paper sack. Y'all don't know what paper sacks are. When I was growing up, we had paper sacks. You go to the grocery store, you put it in a paper sack. Y'all got plastic sacks, but we had paper sacks. And they kept paper sacks back then in those days because Camby, if they wanted to take lunch to dinner somewhere, they put it in those bags. And like y'all throw away stuff when y'all finish using, but they kept it and reused it because they saw it as recycled. Well, it had grease stains and all that stuff all over it, all that kind of stuff. Just looked a horrible mess, he said. And he was antsy and in a hurry, but she wanted his time, and since she was a member, he gave her his time. And she said, Brother Pastor, did I hear you say you needed $10,000 by next week? And he said to her, yes, ma'am, but in his mind, he's like, you need to get out of there. I need to go. I need to find you. You holding me up. While we talking, he looking at her. You can't help me. We're not no $10,000. She said, you say you need $10,000. She asked him about 3 times for confirmation. And it irritated him more. Every time she bring it up, it irritated him. Yes, ma'am, yeah. Oh, so how can I help you today? She said, well, I just brought you the $10,000. I wish I had a paper sack. You know you fold a paper sack over. Y'all don't know nothing about that. You fold, in the shout. You fold a paper sack over and you carry it like this here. She unfolded it. Dug down in that sack. Not no purse. Not no Louis Vuitton. Not none of them. She dug in the paper sack and she pulled up all these $100 bills. And then she was sitting across from him. She took her hand and moved stuff off from his desk out of her way. Y'all been working with me. And she started counting. In my mind, she was saying, I might not have no dress from Macy's on, but I got some money. I might not have no college degree, but I know how to count money. And she counted them stacks of hundreds. And John Youngblood said, he just sit there mesmerized, mouth agape. Because she was the last person in his mind that had access to that kind of money. You can never write out who God wrote in. That's why I don't worry about Negroes make all kind of money. They won't put but $1 in church. I ain't gonna lose no sleep over that, because I know God got some folk don't make but $10. They'll put the whole 10 in. You can't judge a book by its cover. If you got a living dog, use him. You sit up there waiting on that line been dead. He's rotting and stinking by now. All right. That's in the Bible. Thought I'd throw that out there. You will benefit far more from being associated with people who are upbeat, who are positive, who are focused, who are God-fearing for real, not just talking church lingo. Oh, people who are ambitious, and catch this, people who are forgiving. One of the problems we can't advance is we won't forgive. Forgiveness is not for the other person, forgiveness is for you. It releases you of a burden of heartache and pain. It releases you from blurred vision. It releases you from anguish. And it frees you to go forward and conquer the land that the Lord your God has promised you. So then you'll advance more from these kinds of people, having these kinds of people around you, than people who are thuggish, people who are lazy, people who are freeloaders, people who are conniving, people who are negative, people who are jealous, people who are critical. You need to X them. You need to X them. Anybody, give them 2 days. They ain't said nothing positive to you yet. Scissors. Listen, good teachers infuse a desire to learn in their students. I can't tell you, and you listen to athletes and movie stars, well, they don't call them movie stars no more, but people who are in that industry, people just in a bunch of different fields. It was where they were in school, and counselors and teachers told them they would never amount to nothing. And then today, look at them. Their names are written in the stars. And if they'll tell you, if I had listened to her back then or listened to him back then, I wouldn't be nothing. But yet they went on in life. They had a few people who would encourage them. And now they've made something of themselves. And not just of themselves, but they're giving back to their communities. That's because good teachers infuse a desire to learn in their students. Pastors with integrity infuse an attitude of commitment within a congregation. I've tried to live with integrity before this congregation. And I will testify, because many of these people in their graves today resting. And they wouldn't have dared told it to the congregation back then when they were alive, because some of them told me, I don't need nobody calling me and trying to get on my nerve about what I'm doing for my church and for my pastor. So they kept it. But they did great significant things. But what I want to share with you, I had a number of people, who told me to my face as the pastor, said, you up here teaching and talking about tithes and offerings? I ain't gonna never tithe. I don't tithe to this church. They don't do nothing but waste money. And my plea to them, I said, well, I'm the new kid on the block. I won't waste it. Try it again. Those people who never tithe, many of them start tithing. They're in the grave today. They resting with Jesus. But they start tithing because they looked beneath it at what I said and what I was doing, and it all lined up with what they wanted. And they gave it. And this church is where it is today with a little money. It ain't like we running over with a bunch of money. But we are here today because some people who said, I don't tithe, I ain't gonna never tithe, I've never tithe, started tithing, not for me, but for the Lord. But it does take a pastor with integrity. What I want from the congregation, I try to model it. I will never ask you for nothing I'm not going to give. I will never ask you to do nothing I'm not willing to do. I will never ask you to go nowhere I'm not willing to go. I'm not too good for that. Because people need to see a sermon before they'll hear one. So I tell pastors all the time, you want your congregation to be more committed, more sacrificing, and let them see it in you. And then when I talk about what I do, it ain't because I'm trying to be big and bad. I'm trying to help somebody, because most of the people who come sit in pews in churches, when they look at the pastor and say, oh, new suit? That's what he's doing with the money. Oh, new watch? That's what he's doing with the money. Oh, new car? That's what he's doing with the money. No, that ain't what this one doing with the money. I save my money. Whatever I wear for this new, I bought it because I saved my money. The only thing I asked y'all to do for me is buy me a truck. I asked you that last week after 27 years. And that ain't for me, LaShonda. That's so I can haul some food. But you got all these brothers, they ain't got time to wait on no brothers. They working. They try to make them some money so they can put some money in this church. I got some free time. I'll take that truck and run around there and run over there and run over there and find a few guys when I get back here to say, you need some help to unload that? And they ain't bothered y'all 1 minute. And they'll come help me unload all that stuff, stack it in there. See you later, Reverend. Are y'all walking with me? And I'm saying that because the scriptures are true. Yeah, okay. Inspirational leaders stir within the group a spirit to excel. I don't need nobody to be head of no ministry up in this church or who's always down, critical. You can't be over people and you critical. You got to be inspirational. You got to inspire people. You got to inspire people. You got to make people want it. I can't get nobody to work with me. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a serious reason why I want nobody to work with you. Because inspirational leaders stir within the group a spirit to excel. There's some people who head up ministries and the like. Folk rush to get, if you need me, let me know. They dying to get with you and help you. Because they know that you're about something and you're going to push them to the top. And they want to see their church and everything about their church excel. If you got to talk negative of your church, join another one. And then motivational speakers infuse their audiences with hope. They criticize Joel Osteen. I used to. I stopped doing that because that's ignorant. Oh, he ain't no preacher. He's just a motivational speaker. Well, that compact center is packed out every day. And people need to hear some infusion of hope more than they need to hear they going to hell. Us churches, that's the only thing we found in the Bible. Thou shalt not. And if you do, you're going to hell. Well, who's coming to hear that? No, for real. Who's coming to hear that? Joseph, can you help me? Who's coming to hear that? Who's going to finance that? I had a guy with me some years ago doing evangelism on the street in this community. And he was out there just preaching his little heart out, and I'm passing out tracts and inviting people to come to church. And I passed it to one fellow passing by his heart, and then he looked at it, and he flipped over and looked at it. They had a picture of the church, they had all the information, my picture, everything. And he said, you want us, talking about people in the neighborhood, to come to this church. And he's pointing toward, because he knew where we were located on that corner, to hear that. I said, what? I never had it explained to me like that before. You want us to leave our homes in this neighborhood, right, walking distance, to come to that church up there, to hear that. And I said, what's wrong? And the man said to me, Cam, he said, listen, you got him out here. Listen to what he said. He was sending everybody to hell. You whores, you drug addicts, you alcoholics, all of y'all going to hell. You need Jesus. And he spent all but 30 to 45 minutes sending the neighborhood to hell. And the man said, you want us to leave our house to come up there to that church to hear that. That's what he's doing. So I said, he's almost finished. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm not going to keep it. Because this is not how this sermon is supposed to be. I said, he's almost finished. Can you just hang around with me a few minutes? He's going to be through. And you can tell him how you feel about the message. He looked at me and he said, no, you got him out here. You tell him how I feel. So I did. Amen. So you see, he ain't hit me. I see it. Because he wasn't even in the church. You know what his response to me was? That's your problem. You want to talk about grace, the grace of God. These niggas going to hell. I said, okay. I'll talk about what you. You know what I'm saying? Well, he said, but you want to talk about the grace of God. But they going to hell. And I said to him, I talk about what Jesus talked about. And Jesus talked about the grace of God. And if we as preachers of the gospel can't talk about what Jesus talked about, we need to stop talking about it. Okay. I'm going to stop now. Too much. Come on, y'all. I got a whole lot of things. I got 20 pages of this. That's enough. I think you got the point. Ain't nothing else I can say. You got to do that. Thank you, Wayne. I tell you, hope will infuse life. So get some hope. You got enough bad news, you got enough negative stuff going on. Enough trouble in the land, enough heartache. Give people hope. Amen. And you hold on to hope. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Makes you don't even want to get out of bed. But if it comes to pass, it is a tree of life.